This is the history of the Mustang II. The Mustang II was produced from 1974 to 1978. The brief, however impactful second-generation Mustang continuously sparks a bounty of passionate debates and shifting emotions among the muscle car community. The Mustang II's popularity, or lack thereof, has been a subject of debate since Ford ushered in the Fox body era for the 1979 model year. Sandwiched between the first and longest generations, the Ford Mustang II represented a transitional period for one of the best-selling cars in the United States and a crossroads for one of the largest American automotive manufacturers in the world. Today we'll take a look at whether or not the Ford Mustang II was a success or a failure. Let's take a closer look at how the second generation came to be and its lasting legacy. Due to a series of issues, both foreign and domestic, Ford was forced to change course as the renowned yet aging first-generation Mustang drew to a close. In order to adjust to the times and the current political landscape, Ford completely redesigned its famed pet project, and the Mustang II was born. The introduction of the Ford Mustang in April of 1964 represented a new and exciting outlook for an automotive company that was still picking up the pieces following a disappointing previous decade. The Ford Edsel, which was supposed to help Ford keep pace with General Motors in the post-war period, bombed and lasted only 3 years in production. In a stark contrast to the dark cloud surrounding the failed Edsel, the Ford Mustang garnered near universal acclaim from those within the automotive industry, and more importantly, its ever-growing customer base around the United States. The Mustang won the hearts and minds of pony car enthusiasts everywhere, and remained in the national spotlight for the better part of a decade. As has been the case throughout history, though, nothing good can last forever. In 1970, the United States government announced the first of many Clean Air Acts, which set forth a comprehensive list of federal and state regulations that were designed to limit emissions from both stationary and mobile sources. In an extreme change in policy, the federal government took huge steps to target auto emissions as one of its primary areas of concern. Though few everyday city-goers would complain about cleaner air and a safer living environment, motorists, particularly performance-driving enthusiasts, struggled to handle the new world order following the passage of the Clean Air Act. No longer needing rubber-burning, high-performance machines, American motorists began to turn their attention to more practical alternatives. As the Ford Mustang's first generation entered its last years, the Organization of Arab Petroleum Exporting Countries announced an oil embargo, targeting a number of Western nations, including the United States. In addition to the U.S. and many foreign governments, the harsh financial penalties sent shockwaves throughout the offices at Ford and the American automotive industry as a whole. In response to the rising fuel prices around the globe and the added emission laws in the United States, the major automotive manufacturers began to churn out smaller and more fuel-efficient vehicles. That is exactly what Ford did with the new Mustang II. The team at Ford had steadily made small yet noticeable changes to the Mustang's exterior and interior without sacrificing too much of what people loved throughout the first generation. Then the uncertain economy combined with the political climate of the 1970s forced their hands to make even more changes. In response to declining sales and growing consumer concern about the price of gas, the Mustang was reimagined as a smaller, more fuel-efficient vehicle. Following the 1973 model year, the Ford Motor Company ushered in the second-generation Mustang era, which represented a fundamental change from previous edition muscle cars. In a major shift in its vision of the past, the newly dubbed Mustang II was based on the design of the Ford Pinto and was designed to compete against imports that were growing in popularity as a direct result of the fuel crisis. In a dramatic change from what was a mark of excellence of the early years, the second-generation Mustang marked the end of the famed fastback model. In its place, the Ford Motor Company introduced an all-new and longer hatchback model that differentiated the Mustang II from pony cars of yesteryear. In addition to the departed fastback, Ford temporarily put a stop to the production of Mustang convertibles for the entire second generation. The Mustang convertible did not return until 1983. which was 4 years into the Fox body era. The new platform and shorter wheelbase certainly distinguished the Mustang II from its predecessors visually. But arguably, the biggest change came under the hood. For its first year out, the second generation Mustang did not offer a V8 engine option for the first and last time in the pony car's history. 1974 Mustang owners could choose between 4-cylinder and V6 engine choices, which, not surprisingly, churned out disappointing horsepower numbers of 92 and 105 horsepower respectively. The V8 eventually made its way back in 1975, but as was a theme in the Mustang's second generation, the performance stats were nothing near what muscle car enthusiasts had come to expect, which was at the 140 horsepower mark. The 1975 Mustang was slightly redesigned to accommodate the larger V8 motor. The changes included a revamped hood and an all-new header panel. The return of the V8 in 1975 helped the Mustang II remain relevant for the time being. But as you will discover, it was not sustainable. Because everyone loved something new and the industry changes called for it, the 1974 Mustang was deemed a widespread success out of the gate. With the uncertainty regarding the fuel shortage and the interjection of foreign cars into the competitive automotive landscape, American motorists appreciated Ford's ability to adjust their needs and the changing market as a whole. What it lacked in performance capabilities, the initial Mustang II certainly made up for it in fuel efficiency, which is exactly what was called for in the early 1970s. For the 1974 model year, the Ford Motor Company unloaded 385,993 units, which was the fourth most in the vehicle's 5-decade-plus history. The 1974 Mustang more than twice outsold the Chevy Camaro, which had also undergone a major redesign that same year. In an exciting turn of events for Ford, the 1974 Mustang won Motor Trend's Magazine Car of the Year award that year. The critical acclaim marked the Ford Motor Company's first Motor Trend Car of the Year recognition since the Torino's honor in 1970. The 1974 Mustang is one of just 2 pony cars to win the coveted award, with the other banner year coming in 1994. In 1975, Ford sold roughly 188,500 Mustang IIs, and nearly 1,000 less the following year. The bottom fell out for the second-generation Mustang in 1977, when only 153,000 models were sold. The 1977 model year marked the first time in the Mustang's history in which it failed to outsell the Camaro. The decline in its popularity, combined with the rise of the Camaro towards the end of the Mustang's second generation, marked a sizable shift in the American automotive industry and set the tone for changes in the coming years. In an effort to buck the trend and to drum up some of the fading interest in the Mustang II, the Ford Motor Company debuted a slew of special edition models between 1976 and 1978. The second generation is not always looked upon in the highest regard, but the Mustang II era marked the debut of the Mustang Cobra, which is one of the most popular special edition pony cars in the present day. The Cobra brand made several appearances throughout the pony car's first generation, but it was not until 1976 when Ford officially developed the Mustang Cobra as a standalone model for the first time. Dubbed the Cobra II, the original Snake featured a slew of race-inspired features, including an aggressive hood scoop, functional rear spoilers, and of course racing stripes. The Ford Mustang Cobra II paid homage to the classic Shelby Mustangs of the past, but in order to grow the brand, Ford inserted a special Cobra emblem on its front fenders. The Ford Motor Company continued to produce Cobras for the remainder of the second generation, highlighted by the 1978 King Cobra. The influential King Cobra included a deep air dam, special stripes, and a large snake decal on the hood, along with a V8 motor. Ford produced only 4,330 King Cobras, but the vehicle helped the Mustang regain some of its performance image that was lost in previous years, and lift the pony car to its second highest sales numbers since the genesis of the second generation. Less notable than the Cobra in 1976, Ford unveiled the Stallion in several different colors, including bright yellow, white, silver, and black. The Stallion's sports package contained a number of black features, including a blacked-out grille, bumpers, and body moldings, to go along with the styled steel wheels and attractive Stallion logos. In addition to the Cobra models and the Stallion, the second-generation Mustang also brought about the Sports Appearance Group and a special T-Top edition in the 1977 model year. The Mustang II era lasted just 5 years, which is the shortest of any of the pony cars' 6 generations. But the team at Ford displayed tremendous effort throughout everything that was thrown its way during the difficult time period. Additionally, automotive historians have correctly pointed out that the Mustang II was indeed the right car at the right time in order to keep the American icon going. The Ford Mustang is one of the few vehicles that have lasted 50-plus years that did not take a break during a single model year, even during the toughest time. And the second-generation Mustang deserves plenty of credit for preserving the pony car's longevity. So the next time you want to throw insults at the Mustang II or its small but dedicated fan base, keep in mind that without it, you may not be driving around in your Fox Body SN95, S197, or S550 today. Well, that about wraps it up. Thank you all for watching. Leave a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to click that bell to be notified of new videos. Thanks again for watching.